Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sound Mind podcast, where we dive into the fascinating world of music psychology. I'm your host, Sophia, and as a music psychologist, I'll be guiding you through everything you've ever wondered about music. So whether you're a music lover or just interested in the science of sound, you're in the right place. So welcome. Now, every week we talk about how music has the power to lift our spirits, spark memories, and just make us feel alive. But what if music could do more than just brighten our day? Well, it turns out music might be doing way more than just putting you in a good mood. It could actually be helping your brain stay younger for longer. That's right, researchers are starting to back what many of us have always instinctively known. Music isn't just good for the soul, it's good for the body and mind too. It lights up almost every part of the brain, including areas linked to memory, emotion, pleasure, and movement. Basically, it's like a full-on brain workout, but way more fun than a Sudoku. In this episode, we're going to be diving into how music can support healthy aging, from boosting cognitive function and emotional well-being to even helping you stay physically active. We'll be looking into how music can slow cognitive decline, reduce stress, keep us emotionally sharp, and even strengthen our immune system. So whether you're 25 or 75, this one's for you. So let's start with the basics. What's actually going on in our brains and bodies as we age? Well, we know that aging brings natural changes. The most common one that we hear about is memory loss. Maybe names start to slip your mind, or you walk into a room and forget why. And that's partly due to shrinkage in the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for forming and retrieving memories. As neurons in this area reduce in volume and connectivity, it becomes harder to form new memories and recall old ones with the same ease. Another key shift is in processing speed. It's not that our ability to think or reason disappears. Actually, it's far from it. But the brain's signaling becomes slower, like switching from high-speed broadband to a less zippy connection. This can impact how quickly we absorb information, switch between tasks, or respond to new situations. Multitasking becomes more mentally taxing, and we might find ourselves needing more time to make decisions or solve problems. And on a physical level, aging affects various systems in the body. The vestibular system, which controls balance, becomes less efficient, which leads to an increased risk of falls. Muscle mass and bone density tend to decline, and a condition known as sarcopenia reduces strength and stamina. Reflexes slow, and our sensory systems like hearing, sight, taste, touch, and smell can all become less sharp over time. Even our immune systems take a hit, making us more vulnerable to illness. But okay, I know that's a lot of negative things being said, and it all sounds quite scary. But here's the thing. Aging isn't just about what's being lost. It's also about what's gained. And this is where we need to shift the narrative, because while certain cognitive functions like memory or speed may decline, others like vocabulary, emotional regulation, and pattern recognition often improve with age. Older adults tend to score higher on measures of empathy, compassion, and life satisfaction. They're often better at seeing the bigger picture, handling interpersonal conflict, and navigating complex emotions thanks to decades of lived experience. That's what's known as emotional intelligence, and it continues to grow as we do. Creativity also doesn't have a use-by date. In fact, for many, creative pursuits flourish in later life. With fewer external pressures and a deeper well of reflection, older adults often turn to storytelling, visual arts, writing, and of course, music. Not just as hobbies, but as ways of making sense of the world and expressing identity. This isn't just nostalgia, it's meaning-making. And yet, our culture tends to paint a very different picture. Aging is often portrayed as something to battle or conceal. We're bombarded with anti-aging creams, brain booster pills, wrinkle erasers, and a slew of promises that implicitly say you're only valuable if you stay young. But what if we stopped trying to fix aging and started learning how to support it? What if aging wasn't something to resist, but something rather to honor, something to nourish? And that's where music steps in, not just as background noise or entertainment, but as a powerful, science-backed ally for aging well. Music engages multiple areas of the brain at once, including memory, emotion, movement, and reward. It doesn't just help us remember who we are, it helps us feel alive, present, and connected. Whether it's boosting mood, sparking memories, motivating movement, or just offering comfort, music has the power to keep us emotionally and neurologically engaged, which is key to aging with resilience and grace. So let's dive into exactly how music supports brain health, emotional well-being, and even physical vitality, and why it might just be one of the most underrated tools that we have for aging well. When you engage with music, whether you're listening to your favorite playlist, singing in the shower, or even picking up that old dusty guitar, you're not just being entertained, you're giving your brain a serious workout. So let's break it down a bit. When we listen to or make music, we activate, first of all, the hippocampus and amygdala. Now, these are big players when it comes to memory and emotion. So when you hear a song from your teenage years and suddenly feel all the feels, that's these guys lighting up. They're the ones that are able to magically transport you back to that moment and bring back all the emotions that were related to it as well. Then you've got the limbic system, which is often called the brain's pleasure and reward network, and this also gets in on the action. This is the areas that are responsible for releasing dopamine, our feel-good neurotransmitter. So think about that dopamine hit that you get when a beat drops just right, or even when a harmony gives you chills. That's literally your limbic system celebrating. It's the same reward system that's activated by food, love, and even certain drugs, which tells you just how potent music can be in shifting our mood and motivation. And then we've got the motor system, and this includes regions like the cerebellum and the premotor cortex. And this is engaged even when you're just listening passively. So if you find yourself tapping your foot, nodding your head, or swaying to a melody without even thinking about it, that's your motor system synchronizing with the rhythm. It's not just about movement either. Music can also support coordination, timing, and balance, which is why rhythm-based therapies are so often used in physical rehabilitation, for example with stroke patients or those with Parkinson's disease. So you put all of this together and what you get is what neuroscientists call a multisensory, multimodal experience, meaning that music doesn't just activate one part of the brain, it lights up so many different areas simultaneously. In brain imaging scans, it's almost like watching a firework display. And actually, what's interesting is very few activities produce this kind of widespread neural activation. In a way, music is like a hit class for your brain. It's short bursts of high-intensity stimulation across multiple systems, but without the sweat, which I can get on board with. That's kind of why I'm in this field. But music isn't just stimulating, it's also protective. Studies also suggest that regular engagement with music, especially when it's active, like playing an instrument, singing, or dancing, which I'm going to get into after this. But this can help maintain and even enhance cognitive function in old adults. It's not just about staying sharp in the moment, it's about building something that's called cognitive reserve. And this is essentially your brain's backup system. It's extra networks and pathways that can compensate when others weaken due to age or disease. And this is thanks to neuroplasticity. And this is the brain's insane ability to reorganize itself, form new connections, and adapt in response to experience. Once believed to only occur in childhood, we now know that neuroplasticity can happen way into older adulthood. And music, with its rich blend of rhythm, melody, memory, emotion, and movement, provides exactly the kind of complex, engaging input that encourages the brain to keep rewiring itself and growing. In fact, some researchers have found that older adults who regularly engage in musical activities show greater volumes of grey matter in key brain regions, as well as better verbal memory and enhanced emotional well-being. Others are exploring how music may delay the onset or slow the progression of neurodegenerative conditions like dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Even something as simple as group singing has been shown to improve mood, social connection, and overall brain health. Now, let's zoom in on something a little bit more hands-on. Actually, playing music. Because while listening to your favorite playlist is amazing, there is something deeply transformative about creating music yourself. When you play an instrument, you're not just hearing music, you're making it. And that changes everything. It taps into a totally different kind of brain power. It's not passive, it's active. You're creating sound, not just absorbing it. And that means that your brain isn't just reacting, it's problem solving, coordinating, predicting, and adjusting, all in real time. You're reading notes, using your hands, syncing your breathing, staying in rhythm, and also expressing emotion, sometimes all at once. It's a bit like doing yoga, a crossword, and performing a monologue all at the same time. And believe it or not, your brain loves that challenge. Research shows that learning an instrument, even for the first time later in life, can sharpen your thinking, boost your attention span, and improve your ability to juggle multiple tasks. It strengthens the part of the brain involved in planning, focus, and impulse control, all of which are key to maintaining independence as we age. And it's not just about logic and focus. Playing an instrument is also deeply creative. You're not just working your brain, you're playing with it. That feeling of finally cracking a tricky chord progression or getting the hang of a new rhythm, it's so rewarding. It boosts confidence, gives you a sense of progress, and injects a little bit of joy into your routine. It's a reminder that learning doesn't stop at a certain age. In fact, it can just get richer. One long-term study from the University of California tracked people for decades and found that those who had musical training as a child had better memory, problem-solving abilities, and verbal reasoning in older age. But in another study, older adults who started learning piano for the first time, actually just for 30 minutes a day for a few months, they also showed improvements in memory, planning, and verbal fluency. So if you've ever thought, oh, it's too late for me to start learning an instrument, I'm too old for that, my brain isn't going to be able to pick it up, let this be your sign that it's not. There's no expiration date on trying something new, especially not something that lights you up from the inside. Yes, it may take you a little bit longer than it would take maybe a 6-year-old child, but I promise you the payout is worth it. And it goes beyond the brain, there's physical benefits too. Playing an instrument builds fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination, which become even more important as we age. Everyday things like buttoning a shirt, tying shoelaces, or writing can stay easier to manage. It can also support posture, balance, and muscle control. For people living with memory loss, including dementia, playing an instrument can also unlock something incredibly powerful. Music taps into parts of the brain that remain intact even when language and memory fade. So while someone might struggle to speak, they may still be able to play a familiar tune or even recognize it when it's being played. And in doing so, they access a part of themselves that felt lost. And that's just one of the magical beauties of it. It offers connection to ourselves, our past, and the people around us. For caregivers and loved ones, these musical moments can be so deeply moving. Watching someone come back to themselves through music, even if it's just for a fleeting moment, it can remind us that the person is still there underneath all these layers of cognitive change. And if that's not a motivation to keep your musical connection strong, I don't know what is. So whether it's a grand piano or a secondhand ukulele, playing an instrument isn't just a hobby. It's a full body, full brain, full heart activity, one that can keep you mentally agile, emotionally resistant, and physically active. And the best part is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a professional. You don't even have to be good. You just have to enjoy it. And that's where the magic happens. So some of you may be listening and be thinking, I'm not musical at all. I've never touched an instrument in my life. I don't have an interest in touching an instrument. Maybe you love music, but that's not for you. And that's fine. No worries, because even without picking up a single instrument, music can still be your brain's best friend. Let's start with singing. When you sing, especially familiar songs, your brain does something amazing. It starts pulling from long-term memory, lighting up areas linked to language, rhythm, and emotion. It's not just fun, it's functional. Singing activates your lungs, diaphragm, your posture, and vocal cords. It requires breath control and coordination. So in a way, it's kind of like doing yoga for your vocal cords, posture, and brain all at once. Singing has also been found to enhance verbal fluency and mental agility. When you sing lyrics, especially in a group setting like a choir or even a karaoke night, you're strengthening your brain's ability to process language and sequence information. It's social, expressive, and let's be honest, it's deeply cathartic. Singing taps into a primal human form of communication, one that predates written language. It's why lullabies soothe, chants unite, and anthems uplift us. There's something deeply embodied and communal about using your voice in this way. And if singing in public really isn't your thing, again, no problem. Sing in the shower, hum while you cook, or put on a playlist and sing along while you're driving. The key is to simply engage. Your brain doesn't care if you're performing in a concert venue or alone in your kitchen. It all lights up the same way. So whether you're just humming a tune, mouthing the lyrics to a guilty pleasure song, or joining your local singing circle, just remember that you're not just singing. You're stimulating your memory, strengthening your lungs, lifting your spirits, and building cognitive resilience, one note at a time. And then we have passive listening, which, despite the name, is far from passive when it comes to your brain. Just listening to music can light up multiple regions of the brain at once, those tied to memory, emotion, attention, and even movement. So whether you're vibing to lo-fi jazz while you're working, letting classical music soothe your nerves, or belting Adele in the shower, your brain is reaping real rewards. Studies have shown that listening to music can reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol, boost your mood, and support emotional regulation. It can help you focus, energize you, or wind you down. And in fact, the type of music that you listen to matters. Not in a snobby kind of what's on your playlist way, but in terms of brain function. Classical music, for instance, has been linked to improvements in spatial temporal reasoning, the kind of brain work that you use when assembling IKEA furniture or figuring out directions. Upbeat pop or jazz, on the other hand, can improve focus and memory performance by enhancing mood and even mental clarity. In short, music makes your brain more responsive and flexible. It creates emotional states that are actually primed for learning and remembering, which is, of course, super useful when we're talking about aging. And we can't talk about healthy aging without talking about sleep, because honestly, sleep is everything. It's when your brain does its nightly housekeeping, filing memories, clearing out toxins, and resetting your nervous system. But for many older adults, quality sleep becomes harder to come by. And that's where music steps in. Research shows that listening to calming music before bed can improve both sleep quality and sleep satisfaction. Now, I want to do an entire episode on music and sleep because the research is super extensive. But essentially, it slows the autonomic nervous system, lowers cortisol, and helps you feel physically and mentally ready to rest. In fact, studies have shown that music before bedtime can help people fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up just feeling more refreshed, without the side effects of sleeping pills. We love music as a non-invasive method. Honestly, it's great for so many things and doesn't require you to put anything in your body, which I think is amazing. It's always worth a try. So, even if you've never touched a piano or read a single note of music, you can still experience the magic. Whether it's background music during your morning coffee, a playlist to help you fall asleep, or your go-to sing-along session in the car, you're doing something good for your brain, and your heart, and your lungs, and maybe even your neighbors. Now, let's shift gears a little and talk about the body, because music isn't just food for the soul or a workout for the brain. It's also surprisingly powerful for keeping your body young, energized, and resilient as you age. Let's talk about stress reduction. Now, we know that stress doesn't just affect how we feel, it speeds up how we age, inside and out. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, which is the hormone designed to help us respond to threats. While helpful in short bursts, long-term exposure to cortisol can be really damaging. It disrupts our well-needed sleep, spikes blood pressure, and overall weakens the immune system. It triggers inflammation and contributes to everything from heart disease and diabetes to anxiety, depression, and neurodegenerative conditions. In other words, persistent stress fast tracks the aging process, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But that's where music steps in as a non-invasive, side-effect-free stress treatment. Listening to music, especially calming, familiar, or emotionally resonant pieces, has been shown in multiple studies to lower cortisol levels and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, aka your rest and digest state. This signals to the brain and body that it's safe to relax, reducing heart rate, easing muscle tension, and helping us downshift from a constant state of hyper-alertness. In fact, research using biomarker analysis has found that music can reduce the presence of stress indicators in the bloodstream, promoting overall physiological balance. Lower cortisol levels translate to a host of benefits. You've got better quality sleep, improved mood regulation, stronger digestion, greater immune resilience, and even slower cellular aging thanks to reduced oxidative stress. Put simply, music is a gentle but powerful message to your nervous system. It says, you're okay, you can breathe, you can heal. It's an accessible, cost-effective form of self-regulation that doesn't require a prescription, a wellness retreat, or even a therapist. All it takes is hitting play. Whether it's classical strings, lo-fi beats, soulful jazz, or even ambient nature sounds, the music that you find relaxing is the one that's going to serve you best, because it's not about the genre, it's about the emotional connection. And that connection is what allows your brain and body to let go of stress and start restoring balance. Now let's talk a little bit about inflammation, immunity, and various health conditions. Now, chronic inflammation is a sneaky contributor to so many age-related illnesses. Heart disease, arthritis, cognitive decline, the list goes on. But studies show that music can help here too. One study found that music listening reduces levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, and these are proteins that ramp up inflammation in the body. So when we talk about music as medicine, this isn't just a metaphor, it's actually measurable. And the benefits extend to our immune system too. By reducing stress and inflammation, music actually helps our bodies fend off illness and maintain balance as we grow older. And it's not just about what we listen to, it's about what we do with music that can make a powerful difference. So I want to go back to singing for a second. We often think of it as a creative outlet or something fun to do in the shower, but it's actually a surprisingly effective form of physical exercise. Singing actively engages the lungs, diaphragm, and what's known as the intercostal muscles, helping to improve respiratory strength, breath control, and oxygen intake. Over time, this kind of regular vocal exercise can support better lung function, increase endurance, and promote a sense of vitality, especially in old adults. For instance, something called Singing for Lung Health is a pioneering group-based program or intervention that's shown promising results in enhancing the well-being of people living with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and also other long-term lung conditions. Participants not only report improvements in breathlessness and physical control, but also a boost in confidence, mood, and social connection. It turns breath, something that can become a source of anxiety when you're short of it, into a tool for self-expression, rhythm, and release. And it's not just limited to clinical settings. Singing in community choirs, church groups, or even karaoke nights can offer similar benefits, fostering a sense of connection, reducing loneliness, and keeping our respiratory and emotional systems in sync. I'm a singer myself, and I always refer to myself as having the lungs of a singer. And I don't really know where I picked that up from, but I guess it really does make sense when you kind of put all the research together and realize just how much of a workout it is. And if you've been doing that consistently throughout your life, it really does contribute to having better breath control and even reaping benefits that you might not even think about. Then, of course, there's dancing. Music makes us want to move, and I think that's such a gift. It's instinctual, joyful, and so deeply human. From toddlers bopping to a beat to elders grooving at weddings, dance is such a universal language of expression. But it's also one of the most powerful, evidence-based tools that we have for aging well. Physically, dancing is a full-body workout that ticks all the boxes. Rhythm, coordination, flexibility, posture, strength, and balance. Unlike repetitive gym routines, dance integrates multiple systems at once, combining cardiovascular training with muscular engagement and fine motor control. Studies show that regular dancing improves heart health, enhances circulation, builds muscle tone, and helps maintain joint mobility. It's even been shown to reduce the risk of falls in older adults by improving core strength and balance, which are two critical areas that really do tend to decline with age. But the benefits go well beyond the physical. Dancing is a cognitive workout too. Following a rhythm, remembering steps, and syncing your movements with music or even other people activates multiple brain regions simultaneously, including the motor cortex, sensory cortex, basal ganglia, and even the hippocampus, which, of course, is linked to memory and learning. This makes dancing one of the few activities that's actually been shown to protect against cognitive decline and also dementia in older age. And let's not forget the emotional magic of dancing. When we move to music, our brains release dopamine, which is the feel-good chemical, and endorphins, which are known as the body's natural painkillers. Together, they lift mood, reduce stress, and create this sense of vitality. It's no surprise that so many people report feeling more alive after dancing, whether it's a night out or just a solo session while cleaning the house. And that's what I love. Same with playing an instrument or even just listening to music. You don't need to be a professional dancer. A little shimmy in the kitchen or just swaying to your favorite song can also deliver the same benefits. I think music just makes movement fun. It's the difference between dragging yourself to a workout and finding yourself smiling halfway through a song because your body just had to move. Dancing is actually one of the only forms of cardio I enjoy. It just keeps me coming back. And like I said, consistency is key when it comes to aging well. So the next time a favourite song comes on, let your body move, however that looks like for you. I promise that your body, your brain, and your future self will thank you for it. Now, I want to finish off by talking about the social side of aging. I don't want us to forget about it because we often think of health in terms of body and brain, but our emotional and social well-being is just as important, especially as we grow older. In fact, they're deeply intertwined. Loneliness and depression don't just affect how we feel. They're linked to higher risks of cognitive decline, dementia, and even mortality. As we age, our social circles can shrink, whether that's because of geographical moves, the natural passage of time, or health limitations. But that's where music comes in, not just as a personal comfort, but as a bridge between people. Whether it's singing together in a choir, attending a live music event, or even enjoying a spontaneous dance in the kitchen, music creates shared experiences that strengthen relationships, foster belonging, and boost mental health. It has the power to transform loneliness into connection, anxiety into joy, and isolation into community. One of the most beautiful examples of music's communal magic is choir singing. There's just something magical about singing with others. Choir participation is a great example of how music can positively influence both emotional well-being and social connectivity. For many older adults, singing in a choir isn't just about making beautiful music. It's about the shared experience of coming together with others to create something greater than the sum of it. Research supports what many choir members already know. Singing in a group can drastically improve mental well-being. Studies have shown that participating in choir singing reduces loneliness, boosts mood, and enhances cognitive function, especially in older adults. For instance, one study found that group singing significantly reduced stress levels and enhanced overall emotional health in older participants. The simple act of being part of something, singing in harmony with others, creates a deep sense of belonging which has profound effects on mental health. Participating in a choir can also create stronger community bonds and serve as a social lifeline. For many older adults, choirs provide a chance to meet new people, form friendships, and build a supportive social network. In fact, research has shown that people involved in choirs report higher satisfaction in their social lives and a greater sense of connection with their communities. We used to have a choir at my previous workplace, and it was one of my favorite parts of the week. I got to engage with people that I would have never usually met. We just built such a bond, and it's such a unique way to socialize with people. I just enjoyed it so much. Now, I want to finish up by talking about the power of live music. So if you're looking for a reason to buy that next concert ticket, I might be able to help you out here. You know that feeling when the lights dim and the music starts and the crowd's energy just surges around you? It's so magical, and honestly, just thinking about some of my previous concert experiences give me goosebumps just even thinking about it. It's not about just enjoying the performance. It's about being part of something that's larger than yourself. The sense of collective participation in a live music experience has such profound emotional and social benefits. Research has shown that live music events, whether they're concerts, festivals, or intimate performances, foster a sense of social synchronization. This phenomenon, known as entrainment, occurs when people's physiological responses, such as heart rates, movements, and even brain waves, align with the rhythm of the music. It's so fascinating, and this synchronization leads to a deep sense of connection, not just with the music or the performer, but with the crowd around you. It's a shared experience that unites people in such powerful ways. The communal aspect of live music can have an immense impact on emotional well-being. Concert goers often experience an uplifted mood, a sense of joy, and of course that feeling of belonging. And these events also provide a perfect opportunity for social bonding, whether it's making new friends at a festival, reconnecting with old ones at a concert, or simply sharing an emotional moment with a stranger who's also moved by the same music. And then we again have that emotional power of dancing. It's just an amazing way to physically connect with both the music and those around you. It's so powerful. But perhaps one of the most exciting aspects of music and social connectivity as we age is the potential for intergenerational interaction. As we know, music transcends age, whether it's young people introducing their grandparents to new genres or older adults sharing the music of their youth with younger generations. Music creates a space for multi-generational conversations. But we live in a time, and I think we always have, where these kind of music events are very segmented. You know, if you go to a concert, you usually tend to see people in a relatively similar age demographic to you, and it seems to exclude the older generation. But there is something called intergenerational events. And these are things such as club nights for all ages or music festivals that appeal to a wide range of generations. And this allows people of different ages to come together and bond over this shared love of music. These experiences promote understanding, bridge cultural divides, and create new spaces for connection. But more than that, they affirm the idea that joy, fun, and music don't have an expiration date. A great example of this is the rise of intergenerational clubbing, where people of all ages are welcome to dance, laugh, and connect. These events break down the stereotypes of age and aim to create safe, inclusive spaces for people to celebrate life and music at any stage. And they're becoming increasingly popular because who doesn't want to dance the night away, no matter how old they are? So, as we bring the episode to a close, I just want to leave you with this question. What would it feel like for you to share a dance floor with someone maybe 50 years older or even younger than you? To let go of generational divides and meet each other not through labels or assumptions, but through rhythm, movement, and shared emotion. Would you feel comfortable with it? Is there something weird about it? Feel free to reflect on this privately or share your reflections with me. I would really love to hear your thoughts on this. But just to kind of conclude today's episode, music isn't just a form of selfish joy. It's really a powerful tool that can support us as we grow older. It boosts brain health, helps reduce stress and inflammation, and engages us on so many levels, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Whether you're playing an instrument, singing along in the car, or joining a choir, music promotes cognitive resilience and emotional well-being in ways that we often overlook. So the next time that you find yourself considering a night out, a karaoke session, or simply listening to a playlist, remember that you're not just indulging in a bit of fun. You're investing in your health, happiness, and longevity. And if you've been waiting for the perfect reason to go to that concert or dance to that tune, here it is. You're welcome. But that's all for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Sound Mind. If you've enjoyed it, please rate or review on wherever you're listening and share it with someone who loves music just as much as you do. Or maybe you know someone who's got a birthday coming up, they're maybe not feeling so good about getting older. Share this with them. Let them know that their daily music interactions could be contributing to them aging more gracefully, and let them embrace the process of getting older like we all should. Either way, don't forget to follow us and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Also, come and say hi on Instagram and Threads at the Sound Mind Talks. We've got such a great community of you over there. I love having such meaningful discussions with you. So if you want to come and say hi, do join us. But until next time, keep listening, keep reflecting, and I'll see you on the Sound Mind.